A very, very, very good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining NSSF. This is the time when we converge into class. It's a good thing to see you back here. My name is Mboa Apollo, and I am your headmaster of this school. It is a school where we discuss money. Of course, we have been learning about so many things in our secondary schools, universities, PhDs, but this school is a unique one. We only talk about money. We learn about money, and I'm privileged to be your headmaster, as it is truly called Sir Headmaster Sir, and I always implore you to call me by that. Let's talk about money, and today we are going to talk about your retirement benefits. This is a unique one, and we are going to keep doing this for a for the foreseeable future. We are talking to anyone that is going to be receiving their benefits within the next 12 months. But of course, as it is said, when they are talking to the royals, even the peasants need to listen. If you are receiving your benefits in the next 120 months, 200 months, still listen so that you can get this. And as usual, we bring you experts, independent experts, authorities in their field, and they'll take this conversation to the practical part of it. Thank you so much for choosing NSSF. Thank you so much for choosing 2 hours of your life to take part in this class, and I hope we make it worthwhile. As usual, I want to start with a little bit brief of why we are doing this. And if the back office team is kind enough to put that presentation, you will see what the heart of NSSF, why is NSSF really interested in doing what it is doing? Why is it taking off 2 hours of taxpayers' time, 2 hours of members' time to just talk about their money? I mean, it is their money, it is their benefits. But if you move with me, as NSSF, we came up with this agenda and we've been running it. We need to have a financially empowered national citizenry, not just our members. My members are not just the people we are looking at are not just the people who have money with us, and I will show you those numbers. We are looking at the neighbor of my member, because my member will never sleep if his neighbor is poor. So we want to take this as a national agenda. We want to reverse that statistic. You've heard that statistic that people get their money and within 2 years, they have nothing to show for it. They have saved their money for over 200 months, 400 months, and within 2 years, they have nothing to show for it. That should stop. And definitely, an NSSF member or any citizen of this country is only called wealthy if they have options. And you need to have options. So we do this so that we expose you to the different options. What can you do while you're still at the workplace without compromising your workplace that can help you speak to your retirement? And people talk about, they say they will die. They will not live to see retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, I have news for you. You are going to live. I'm going to share some statistics. Of course, all this is historical data, and you will definitely see that people are living. I know every number of people I've interfaced with in the last 10 years, and they have promised that they are dying soon. They have not died. So you will live to see your retirement. And if it finds you poor, it is your problem. So this is who we are as the fund. And this I'm talking about the fund. The members we have at the fund, only 40% are active. Ladies and gentlemen, this number was constraining before, because the law was constraining, and you could not allow you to save for yourself unless you were employed. The law was amended. And among the other things that was amended, that you can work from wherever you are, whoever you are, and just become an NSSF member. All you can register. You can even self-register. As long as you have a national ID, you can become a member and you can start saving for yourself. So there is no reason why we have 60% of us dormant, especially if we already tested it. Before even we bring in all the other people who have never tested NSSF, you the 60%, I call upon you, become members and be active. But what also worries us about these active members, 70% of them have a balance below 10 million. So we are 17 trillion strong in NSSF, but 70% of our active members have a balance below 10 million. That means those people, if we are to stop the fund now and distribute this money, they have no business doing business in Kampala, because 10 million cannot do anything in Kampala. They will now go back to their village with all their English and all their everything, and they start disturbing people in the village. Ladies and gentlemen, that disturbs us. You have a direct effect on what you can do about your balance, because now the law opened it up and you can save for yourself and put up your balance. I will just 60%, of course, the number is even worse. 93% of them have a balance below 10 million. Ladies and gentlemen, every time you hear people talking about our money is stuck at NSSF, ask yourself, is that person among the 10% or the 1% above 50 million? Because someone could be promising to buy your building, but is among our 10%, is among our 93%. They want to buy your building, and their excuse for not working, their excuse for not doing anything is because NSSF has my money. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to clear this picture. Not just with NSSF, but also all the other places where you can save, where you can put your money. Do you have rentals? Do you have do you have a garden? Do you have a half an acre of something? We can do something, and we up these numbers. Just to bring you a little bit, we pay out benefits as NSSF, and this is the ratio of the benefits: 63%. Just by qualifying and becoming 55 years, you get paid at NSSF. That's the basic qualification for you to receive your money. Get 55. Don't present any plan. Don't just come with 55. Your years of 55. We don't mind if you have grown up. You are or you are just growing old. You just get your money. But again, that worries us because growing old and growing up are different. Exempted employees, people who are clock 50 and they get their money, well, that's the 9%. Invalidity, if you are sick and they're unable to work, about 5.8%. Those who move abroad, about 3.5%. Those who die, you know, we talked about people who die. Those who die and don't live to see their benefits, we only have 0.4%. This is an indicator, ladies and gentlemen, that you will live to see your benefits. So make sure that when you are living to see your benefits, those benefits actually count. This picture, I have been painting it for the last 2 years, and I need to keep painting it until it actually arrives. And we have been updating it, but the numbers are not becoming any better. Only 10%, as I indicated earlier, of the members in NSSF have a balance on their balance of about 50 million. That worries us. That means it's only 10% that can afford to do a plot in Metropolitan Wakiso. No, outside Metropolitan Wakiso. Of the 17 trillion, a fund that's strong, only 10% can do tangible business out within Metropolitan Wakiso. Outside, not even in not even within the Chireka Chira, you can't do anything in Chira. 11% have someone looking at their retirement. That when you retire, there is some money for you. So we are 42 million people. Only 11% have someone that has something looking up for them. 70 billion leaves NSSF on a monthly. This money is not given out. This money is leaving NSSF and it's going to its members every month. Today we have one of our panelists is a banker. She will confirm to you that she doesn't see that money. They have actually tasked us to show proof that this money leaves, and the proof is there. It leaves, it goes to the banks. When it arrives in someone's account, it leaves that account to some. So the banks always think that it has left my bank, it has gone to another banker, but even the other banker has not seen it. 70 billion. 500 billion was paid out between the 7th of March to 31st of June in midterm access. Remember our money 20%, 500 billion was paid out. And we are not blaming. We are not pointing fingers. We are just showing figures here. And we are saying, do they count? Do we see 500 billion? Do we see 70 billion on a monthly? And most times we do not, because 56% of the people that are paid will go to their household member. They will go to their house girl. They will go to their father. They will go to their maid and ask, what do I do with my money? And that is why we are seeing only 5% of the people that have graced the workplace are able to sustain their lifestyle after the workplace. Only 5%. All the other 95% have to drop in level. You have heard this, and I have used it severally. People encouraging their parents to go back to the village, telling them, convincing them that the village has fresh air, the village has no stress. But we know very well they are just convincing them to go away where people cannot see them. They can no longer manage to be in Kampala, but they have worked in Kampala. They have been in Kampala. All of a sudden, they cannot manage Kampala. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the retirement we are talking about, and we are saying For us who are 12 months away from accessing our benefits, we need to make them count. These figures need to change. So ladies and gentlemen, just to show you a little bit, and my apologies for taking long, just to show you a little bit of when we did our survey, this is what it showed, where people spend their benefits. And I will take you to the popularity page. The most popular expense was to improve a home. When we pay out people, we are not, no one is pointing fingers here, but when people, well, that's 70 billion, 43% of it goes to improving a home. So after you improve the home, then the electricity bills come in, the water bills come in, and they cannot sustain them. There is another 22% of those people who decide to expand. But the majority here were just starting. So you have been in office for all these years and you are choosing to start at 55. Ladies and gentlemen, 55 is not for starting. It is for expanding. So you will blame NSSF for having given you money at 55. But then someone, not NSSF, but someone will start saying, but all these years you have not started something and you are starting at 55. Another percentage, popularity. This is by popularity, not by percentage-wise. So meaning some could have spent on building their home, also spent on expanding a business, acquiring land, 27%. 40% of this also goes to the education for dependents. Now you will think that in retirement you will have those things will go out, your expenses will go down. No, that's a lie. Your expenses don't go down. At 55, at 60, everyone has someone they are paying school fees for. So ladies and gentlemen, for us, we are not questioning this, but we are asking, are they the best decisions you can make? And we are saying, if they are the best, make them the count. Can they count? As I finish, so our program, Make Your Benefits Count, is going to do quite a number of things. We are looking at the prospective people. Those prospective people are taking their money at 55, at 50, and those taking at 45. And we are saying, working with the stakeholders who are going to be enablers. These are the banks. These are the we at NSSF we have a whole voluntary unit which is going to assist you. The financial literacy unit which is going to assist you. We are working and saying, can we have a program where we can make your benefits count? And what we are saying is, we are going to talk about this in webinars. A number of webinars. We're going to put up a number of webinars and we're going to talk about it. Our job is to talk and talk and talk and talk. Yours is to act. One thing I keep telling people that when we talk, we get paid. When you listen and you don't act, you never get paid. But I still get paid. So let's talk, let's get paid, you act, and you get paid. It's a win-win situation. We are going to talk up. We are coming to your town. We are doing town halls. We are coming to the branches. Different branches are arranging. Some of us, this morning, we have gotten quite a number of people walking into the branches and said, there's this webinar they told us about. We are coming to the branch to listen to it. And we are saying, no, don't come to the branch. Let's come to you. And every branch is arranging a town hall for either people are within its vicinity. And we are coming to talk about your benefits. We'll bring you people to talk about their experiences. We will have an expo. There's so many things that, and I'm calling about all other stakeholders to just come and join in. Let's make these benefits count. We are doing a media drive. All this is geared towards getting the benefits count. We are having, you'll see some of the influencers talk about this. They will share their stories and they tell you guys, I got $1 billion. There's a fascinating story we are shooting recently of someone who got $1 billion when they were at campus. And now there is no evidence that this person has even ever owned 2 million. Wow. It is quite disheartening. But the beauty about it is you are not yet there. And you are able to learn from this. So over the next 12 months, about 25,000 people are going to be paid. About 25,000 of us. And we are prospectively about 80,000 may be paid under midterm access if they decide to claim. Over 1 trillion is going to be paid out in benefits. Over 1 trillion. Last year I think we paid about 1.07 trillion. And this particular year, the next 12 months, over $1 trillion is going to be paid out. We need to see this counting. So why we are laboring to do this, of course me I'm laboring because I have a paycheck, they are paying me to labor to do this. But why we are also laboring, why they are paying me, why they are making that money labor on me, is because this money needs to count. As NSSF, we believe if I keep your money from you, as NSSF, this is what we do. We take money from you by force. None of you ever volunteered, but now we want to start for you to start volunteering to be NSSF members. We keep this money from you and then pay out this money to you. If that money does not help you as NSSF, we have failed on our job. So we are laboring to make sure that this money counts and we become of purpose to you. As NSSF, we want to become a partner. Retiring poor is the biggest disservice to yourself. But guess what? It is your choice. For you to retire poor, it is your choice. It is your habits. It is your habits. It is not a curse. No one is cursing you. No one is bewitching you. It is your choice. And one of the things we are going to hear from these webinars is we are making choices every day. The choices you are making every day are either leading you to poverty, retiring poor, or retiring as in a dignified way. It will kill you, ladies and gentlemen. Pressure will not kill you. Ebola will not kill you, but retiring poor is going to kill you. Because guess what? There is a price on your life. If you cannot afford to go to a good hospital, you will die just because you are poor. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I can scare you into not retiring poor. Poverty will deny you a seat among the grown-ups. Imagine you have been ED. Apologies if anyone is ED. You have been ED, you have been CEO, you have been a media presenter. I don't have any of those people here. But you have, and then all of a sudden, when you retire, they cannot even call you for a birthday party. When you discuss something, no one can say, they will hear, but they will not listen. It will, because you are retiring poor. Do not do that to yourself. Your children will abandon you. Your children will question you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am laboring to do this because I have seen this happen. I have not been in retirement, but I have seen parents where you go to visit them and they are grateful. They tell you about the tale of their children, how they went to all those universities, but they have never visited them. And it is understandable because, ladies and gentlemen, the responsibility, don't quote me, don't tell my father, but the responsibility, your first responsibility is towards your children, not your parents. So even your parents, their responsibility was towards you. And now when you get into that space, your responsibility is towards your children. When your child is sick and your father is sick, you will take your child first to hospital before you take your father. There is a law that will imprison you if you don't take care of your children. There is no law that will imprison you if you don't send sugar to your parent. So children are abandoning their parents because their parents are poor. But we also have a good crop, which is, we call them the cool judges. They have retired with good money. Be that judger. In poverty, you surrender. In retiring in poverty, you will have surrendered. You will surrender all your rights, your opinion, your life. They will start discussing about your health without you. Which hospital do we take him to? You don't have a say in this. And you have worked and you have graced the period. You have graced the halls of the corporate world. Ladies and gentlemen, please make your benefits count. When your passive income exceeds your expenses, now you will be in financial freedom. Again, please make your benefits count. I don't know if I can emphasize this, but make your benefits count. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite in my panel. But before, we need to understand, who are you? So I'll ask the back office team to let us know who is listening to us. Who are they? What are they? Are they male, female? Are they 20, 30, 40, 50? What do they do? If the back office team is kind enough to share that poll before we bring in our panel. Today I have a panel of experts. But as we do that, please answer, are you male or female? Are you below 20? Are you 20 to 30? The ones below 20, sometimes they're asking, what do we have to do in this discussion? No, this discussion is actually for you. The others, we are using them as a pretense, as an excuse. But this discussion is for you. If you are 50 and you didn't get it at 20, probably we did a disservice to you. But 20 is the right time. How close are you to withdraw your benefits? I have already withdrawn. I I'm in the process. I'm 1 month away, less than 5 months, more than 5 months to withdraw. Kindly do that in the next 10 seconds. 10, 5, 3. Let's end it and let's see what the panel, who we have here, and if you are kind enough to share it for the screen for my panelists to also see this. My panel, my good panel, 59% of the audience is male. 41% is female. The majority are between 41 and 50. 61%. This is the first time ever we have a majority above 45. Usually the majority is between 20 to 30. Today it is 21% are above 50. 14% are 31 to 40, because we gave them a disclaimer that this is for us, the old people. And we don't have anyone below 20. If they were here, would ask them what they have done. Why aren't they in school? How close are you to withdrawing your benefits? 66% have more than 5 months to withdraw their benefits. So this is very relevant to them. Only 4% have already withdrawn. 8% are in the process. 8% are 1 month away. 14% are less than 5 months away. Thank you so much, the back office team. Allow me to invite our moderator. Our moderator for this, and will be our moderator for the next number of webinars that we are going to, which is specifically handling making your benefits count. She's a media personality. She speaks, by the last I remember, it was 11 languages. 9 to 11, but let's say 11 and just accept it. But she speaks that. She's a Nalongo. She's a Nalongo. She's a poor money manager by her own admission, but inquisitive to learn. She's a failed businesswoman like me, but we don't ever count ourselves failures until it is the last day. Yeah, we always go down and then come up. So she's now she's working on something and she's going to come up. She has had many lessons, and she's quite passionate about her own children, making sure that they do not fall in the same footsteps. Caritas Karisimbi, nice to have you.
Thank you so much. Head teacher, thank you. That introduction.
Head teacher.
I couldn't have done it. Head teacher, I could never have done it.
Sir, head teacher, sir.
Sir, head teacher, sir.
Thank you so much. Headmaster. Thank you so much. Caritas, kindly carry it away.
Thank you so much, Apollo. And I will not bother introducing myself again. And yes, I am actually, after that failed venture, I learned a thing or two. And I'm also here as a student. Today, I am also here as a student. I'm still learning. It never ends. So, finally, we're here, our first webinar among so many that we're going to have to learn how to make those benefits count. Now, I want to first of all introduce my panel. I was reading a little bit about my panel, and I was also stealing some points from some of the videos I watched. And I must say I'm sitting with the right people. People who will tell us a little about money, how to make that money work for you. I'm going to start off from my far left. I know we all say ladies first, but today let me show them that it is okay. We can start from the far left. Mr. Ochichi, who is the CEO of Enterprise Uganda, who has talked about money, dealt with money, financial figures. He's literally been in there for so many years. It is such an honor to have you here, sir. One of the most important people to take us through these webinars. I love listening to you. I really love listening to you. And today, you're all in the right place. Now, next to me here, the only other lady on the panel is Peace Ayabaziwe, and she is the Executive Director at Housing Finance. You're so welcome today. She gets to see that money come in, and like Apollo says, it leaves. They never know where it goes. No paper trail. But maybe today we'll get to find out exactly how that money is put to use. And these webinars are so important. Just like Apollo said, if NSSF gives you that money and you fail at making that money work for you, NSSF will have failed, and that's very true. It's almost like a parent trying to do the same for their child, and when your child goes out there, does the opposite, almost feels like the parent has failed the child. But today we're trying to make sure that we start this journey where we get to do things correctly. Now, again, like head teacher said, many of you have never seen the amount of money that's going to hit your accounts. Even Mr. Ochichi said it. You're going to be in shock to see these figures. Your account is going to hit a red alert. She's going to be so confused what's going on. Even you are having sleepless nights. You probably have stacks and stacks of papers. You've written a business plan. You've rewritten it. You've asked for advice. Bannange kyotakoze akasente okabaliridde. Naye, are you counting it right? Are you making the right plans? Me, I made a mistake because I did not know anything about money. Just because you have the money doesn't mean it can give you the rights to spend it. You know, you may have all that money, but just don't know how to spend it. And that's why we're putting up these webinars, this being the first of many, just to guide you, just to advise you. It's your money. We cannot tell you do this or do that, but we're helping guide you on how you could spend it. So, the first thing Mr. Chichi said that caught my attention, and I'm going to keep on reiterating it, is that this money does not make you wealthy. Getting this money doesn't mean you're wealthy. It only invites you to the table of the wealthy. That's a line I'm going to take away, and I'm going to keep using it throughout these webinars. So first and foremost, I'm going to invite Mr. Ochichi to take us through his keynote speech, and then we'll come down to listening in. I have a couple of questions, but we also have questions from you. So keep those questions coming so that we get to answer as many questions as we can. Remember, we're live on Zoom, we're live on YouTube, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, and also on Family TV. So do tell a friend to tune in to make those benefits count. We need to learn how to make them count. Mr. Ochichi, the floor is yours.
Can you get for me the presentation? So, I want to thank NSSF deeply for these sessions. One, because I have lived quite a productive life in the corporate world, gone through careers that have defined who I am today, worked with many individuals with academic qualifications and professional competencies, but seen Ugandans ending on a hard rock after the corporate world, after the salaries cease. But one of the things that pleases me when I listened to Apollo, the headmaster today, was he said, every 30 days, this country receives 70 billion in the hands of Ugandans. You don't need to do a loan application. There are no processes. It just, you make your application and the money arrives. Every 30 days, 70 billion. What a powerful resource if that resource was to be translated into proper investments and incomes. We would be now talking about DDIs, in other words, domestic direct investors. And to me, that would be brilliant stuff. But here's the picture. The picture that we have just received says that in 24 months, we've lost it. But life is still in your body. Except now the lifestyle that you used to enjoy, the things you used to associate yourself with, you've lost them because they require money. So I'm going to make very few comments here because many of them were well articulated by Apollo. But I can only say by starting to confirm that there are many retired people. Please look out for them. Don't look at them and just point at them. Those fellows were careless. That's why they are like that. You are headed there. And if you've not yet hit 35, 45, you are headed there, and before you know it, you will be in that bracket. So locate these fellows, use them as a platform, a pair of hands from which you are going to acquire life lessons you can't get from YouTube, you can't get from an academic program. I say this because by the time you pick your lump sum payment at 45 or at 55, take it as your last arrow as a hunter. And the moment you shoot that arrow at misses the animal, the family will not eat, but the family will be waiting for you to feed them. Financial picture for most retirees, friends, is such a very, very painful story. And Apple already stated many people do not make it. Less than 5% will be able to use their money properly. And what this statistic says is that access to your lump sum money, the money you get from NSSF, it just equalizes opportunity for you to generate wealth. The moment you access that money, the opportunity now for you to go and generate wealth is open to you like any other. So it equalizes the opportunity. What it doesn't do is, it will not equalize the results. The results will depend on what you do the day you have picked the resources. But be mindful of the fact that each time you've picked that resource and it is with you, you are in what we call in the football match, injury time. Injury time is the minutes between 90 minutes and 95 minutes when the match ends. Every resource, every action you take during that time, it matters. And that's the time when the coach can hardly sit or even breathe independently. It is urgent, it matters. So the money that you are going to get from NSSF is just taking you through your injury time and make that to work out properly. And I say this because it's interesting how life plays out itself. When you retire at 55, you still have almost another 25 to 35 years to live, but this time without a check. And you have a lifestyle you have enjoyed. You have a personality that you have been associated with, but there is no check coming through. And at that age also, it is stated by science that your brain will be as good as somebody at 40 years. Meaning the experience, the kind of things you've learned through life, that should have been the time to maximize their utilization. However, if you've not planned this, you are going to be faced by something extremely unfamiliar: idleness and lack of identity. It is not uncommon to keep on seeing retirees describing himself. I was the former branch manager of housing, former branch manager. Why are you talking about former branch manager? And yet you have been waking up for the last 5 years. What have you done? You mean it was only NSSF that could have used you? Only National Housing Bank, only Centenary Bank. The word former means you lost out somewhere. And may I also say this, past 50 years, if you are still looking for a job, let me tell you it's a tough one, because at that point we only want you for governance roles, leadership roles, not for you to take a job for survival, to pay bills of electricity, to treat yourself, to take a child through school. And many come with saying that language. Give me anything, I have a child, I have to pay through school. Give me anything to do. It is a pitiful sight to see a 50-year-old trying to take up a role, a job of somebody at 31, 28, but he's saying, I have bills to pay. So friends, I want you to sit up and reflect on these few statements that I want to add here. The first one I want to say is that the money you are going to receive is 15% of the money you have been receiving for a long time before you qualify to access your money. 5% came from your salary. The 95% of your salary remained with you. Of course, taxes took some. Then the other 10% of what you're about to receive, it came from your employer. Total 15%. I want you to sit down and answer this question. How does your investment portfolio, before you touch the NSSF money, from the rest of your salary, compare with the 15% savings that we are about to get from NSSF. Is it closer to the same figure in terms of what he has done? If it isn't, trouble. In fact, I want to say this. If the only cash flow that you keep getting right now as you head towards retirement comes every 30 days because it is salary related, my advice to you is you're on a red card. Change that urgently. If the only source of inflow that you get comes only once every 30 days, after that there's no any other credit, trouble. The moment you have done the inflow once and then the rest is withdrawals and withdrawals and withdrawals, you're in trouble. And I normally give people this picture, and I've gone through it myself. If you are at 45 years of age, by now your private inflows coming from your own investments, whatever they are, should be equivalent to 50% of your salary at 45 years. Do the mathematics yourself. Check it yourself right now. And I say this with comfort because at Enterprise Uganda we have done amazing things where somebody begins with 20,000 in 2013, and today in 2022, the person has got 13 apartments. The person has got 3 bungalows. The person has got a fish pond. The person has bought 110 acres, but started with 20,000 shillings. Now here you are, you've earned money and you are now 45 years old, and your extra income outside the monthly remittance is nowhere 50% of that salary. And many of us, as I heard the statistics, were at 50 or 50 plus. By now, your salary should be an equivalent of 100% of your private income should be 100%. And as I speak right now, I hit that about 12 years ago when I had to convert our own home in Kiswa, which was at those days what you call a low-income residential area. But later it became commercial as the city continued to grow. We changed that house, reorganized that house, banged the salary that it delivered. It quickly made our income to shoot way past the standard salary that I was getting. But I want to say this so that whoever is listening must take it to heart. If cash you keep receiving, the monthly one or the one you're about to receive from NSSF or from anywhere, if that cash makes you mostly a customer instead of a creator of customers, forget about wealth. Forget about financial independence. It is easier to be a consumer than to be a supplier of solutions for which people then give you cash. That statement must ring in your head because you're about to receive money. But if right now you are mostly a consumer, a customer, and not a creator of customers, trouble again. Because wealth, as I've said always, is not synonymous with just receiving money. It is only met at the marketplace, and at the marketplace, you must sell a solution that makes customers keep coming back. And at the marketplace, you must be ready to compete and compete non-stop. Now, unplanned cash already, Apple has touched what it does and does that emotional excitement that can become such a big thing. Now, if emotions come in because of unplanned cash, and then you have also lived with financial illiteracy where you have never managed to create customers, that combination is a very tough and delicate combination. And friends, if you want to confirm whether you are in this crisis where emotions are driving things or you are likely to go into that crisis, evidence is here. One is that you are likely to engage in what I call overly ambitious projects. Ambitious projects are those that you start, but they don't reach cash flow level. You have built a house that has been roofed, it looks great and looks grand, but there's no customer because it's not complete. Big mistake. You upgrade your lifestyle. Suddenly you have got what you call, I can never compromise the health of my children. I can never compromise my diet, my education of the children. Who wouldn't want to talk like that, truly? The message is, to what extent are those statements backed by your independent cash flow. You become a mini bank to relatives, generosity, and even quoting the Bible to defend all that and saying, you know what, it is better to give than to receive. But can you continue giving non-stop? You gave last term, about this term, about next year, about the grandchildren. Emotions plus decades of financial literacy is a tough combination. Now, what's the way out? Let's start with what I feel you shouldn't do. Never do the following things. Number one, seeking advice from those individuals who have no evidence to confirm that they have crossed the financial freedom line. The ones that Apollo called the relatives, the friends. But also, there are those colleagues that you surround yourself right now with who talk about high-class kind of things that look like cool things to invest in. Please check to what extent these individuals' balance sheets are improving. And who are the customers that these people are serving as they give you advice? The advice looks great. Where are your customers? Number two, don't concentrate on receiving recognition. Instead, concentrate to be of value to the market, to the consumer, to the neighbor, to the friend. If you can change that, resources will begin to fly and grow in the right way. Avoid the partnerships that suddenly begin to over-surround you. I've always told people that, have you seen MPs, the moment they have been completely sworn in, and how all of them are being surrounded by people who are saying, now we can lend you money, now you can take this loan, now we can give it to you in 24 months. Now it is, how come before you go to the swearing in, nobody was coming to look for you? Suddenly everybody is saying your phone must be ringing until they get you to come on board. If you get into that situation, ask yourself, I'm needed just because of this cash. Is it correct? Those hot deals are delicate. Don't count on your children. Apple already stated it. These kids are going to struggle and pay their own journey along the way. Take them to school, bless them, but please do not overburden these people. In fact, many parents who have retired are going to become again parents at schools where they are taking a child to nursery to pay for a grandchild. So be ready for that. Your child that you took to school cannot look after your grandchild in a nursery school. It is happening. And you are a retired person. And you are now the one attending the school meetings for this grandchild. Do not depend on your so-called workplace colleagues currently who are moving with you. I worked with Uganda Commercial Bank. We had over 3,000 colleagues working in the bank. When the institution later got sold, to get 2-3 people regularly met almost impossible. Right now you might be saying, Wachichi, no, me with my colleagues, we are going to be together. When they part ways, they are going to go to their rural settings. And their issues will be so personal that they will never want to talk to you again. Not because they hate you. They have enough on their plates. Those colleagues will have enough in their plates. And those who will remain in the place of work where you used to be will be now looking at another colleague who has taken your space and associate with that one. They are done with you. So the other thing that I wanted to prepare for, and it is important, is avoid the attitude of complaining, criticizing, and blaming, which you have enjoyed in the corporate world, which you have enjoyed in the offices, always blaming a boss, blaming so-and-so, blaming whatever. As you take the retirement path, you're on your own. You are responsible for waking up early. You are responsible for making yourself happy. You are responsible for giving yourself promotion. You are responsible for everything that you have been looking for and complaining about. Please, for the next several months that you are still having a job, can you desist from making this very unproductive habit to be part of your identity? Because the life of a retired person is a life of independence and 100% responsibility. And then now, how do we fix some of these emotions that tend to cloud our thinking on retirement? I want to close with that slide. The cure for the emotions, number one, keep the cash out of reach. If you have them, because NSSF will release the money to a normal operational account, quickly let that money go to some account with a period saying now, you have fixed it for 6 months, and we're giving interest of 8%. During the 6 months, with all the urge, don't touch that money. Cool off, cool off, cool off. When mine came, I told my wife at home that, you know what, I was shocked that NSSF released the money. They had told me that it would be about 21 days. But within about 9 days, the money was in the account. And the figure was big. The figure was big. But fortunately for me, my wife was working in a bank, and she said, quickly, let's now fix this one, and then let's buy some government bonds. There are some that are coming through right now. Immediately, we locked away the money, and then the calmness came in. And we now began to look at issues in a sober way. So that's the first cure. Let the cash rest somewhere and let the emotions return. And as that is happening, review your current investments. Now, as the money was lying in our various short-term investments, we had a big project of a hotel going on. We now said, how do we progress it from here? And then, how do we move a home that used to be a home for accommodation to become an office space? Convert it to a very prestigious office space, and then the rent was brilliant. Review ongoing obligations that affect your concentration. And what am I meaning here? Go for solutions or a lifestyle that matches your new cash flow. Never imagine that just because you are assisted by your employer to take a child to a better school, you want to belong there. Many Ugandans are not in that kind of a school, but they are going to make it in life. Why are you blowing away your money just because you want to show off? The beauty about life is that there are no solutions in life which have got only one source of remedy. Even clinics, there are clinics that will offer services to people with very basic incomes, but they will still cure you. Prioritize debt repayment, because emotional stress gets worse the moment you've got debt over your head. It is terrible to be in retirement. At the same time, you are battling with debts. Do not discuss your cash money with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. I mentioned that earlier, but there's a way you want to feel good, because if some people have been doubting you, it is time for you to show them that now you have some bit of money. And most importantly, do not call that money your money. Call it family resources. The moment you broaden it like that, it comes to the way you have been looking after the office money. You don't touch office money because it is office money. If you were to say, this is my money, the brain immediately tells you, touch it. Solve problems. Go ahead and become a customer. Start solving problems. Change the language. The other one is, you've been known to have a title, to have a certain image, to have a certain picture and respect in the community. Stop being obsessed with title, image, and public opinion. These do not matter in the marketplace. In the marketplace, we are simply saying, what are you selling? We want to buy it. Evidence for you to confirm that these kind of things have been sorted out. As you look at your last year or so in employment, you need to check the kind of company you are going to be associated with. Are they optimistic people who want to develop and apply investment principles? What actions are you now beginning to take that are new and different from what you used to do? What is your speech about life? Are you still that serial complaining, blaming individual, and you're about to retire? And then finally, how will you spend your time? Because we spend only 8 hours in the place of work, the rest of the time is available to you. What are you using it for? If you do that, you will be able to get to a point where you can use your money properly. I just want to close with a quotation which says that it really doesn't matter how much cash you will get. Remember, I said, cash just gives you opportunity. It is the results that will be different. Keeping it, in other words, keeping the cash that you get, let alone multiplying it, is really hard. In other words, how you behave when you are loaded with cash is the differentiator. So I want to leave my comments at this point and then get back to the chairperson of the session, where we can be able to share a lot of our own ideas and experiences on this subject. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Like, I was waiting to drink from that cup, and I am literally burping. Thank you so much. And again, we are live on YouTube. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on Zoom, Twitter, and also Family TV. So do follow us there. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we are in class and they better join in. We actually do have a couple of questions, but I want to first of all introduce Peace. Peace. Many times I heard you when you were talking about the money coming in. You're a banker. You've dealt with money. You've seen our money come in and go. You've seen people make mistakes. What's that one mistake that bankers constantly make with their money? Not well, customers. Your customers. I call myself a banker because I'm keeping the money with you. Your customers.
Thank you very much, Caritas. And thank you very much, Mr. Headmaster, for setting the pace
Sir.
very well. And of course, my co-panelist, Mr. Charles Ochichi. Thank you very much. I would like also to thank NSSF for organizing this great session. In fact, while I was listening to the previous speakers, I said these sessions are not just for NSSF savers. There is a lot of money that comes or circulates in the system. There are employers that pay big bonuses every year. There are people who get 20 million, 100 million, 50 million, and then those who are employed on contract, they get what we call gratuity every year. Again, that is money. And then we have some private pension schemes. Like in housing finance, there's a private pension scheme, and so you pay some money and the employer contributes some money. So when you're leaving, you can exit with that money. So what do you do with that money? What do you do with that money? Now, some of the mistakes that I've seen in the bank, I've been in banking for over 20 years, and I've had an opportunity to work in several banks, international and local banks. But, you know, the mistakes are the same. The difference is that it's different people, or it can even be the same people making the same mistakes. So we don't learn. Like Mr. Chichi said, we see that people get money with no plan. So you receive money today and you're restless and you want to come and take money away and you have no plan at all. In fact, we've seen some of them, their money being stolen just out of the banking hall. So they come and want to take cash. They come with a pickup or a bag, carry money away. Before we know it, oh, they've broken into the car. Money gone. So we have seen that a number of times. Then also the other mistake that we have seen is that there is diversion. So someone will come and access money. It could be a loan. It could be their own money and say, I'm going to invest in a project. I have this house that I'm putting up for rental or for a home. And before you know it, they have diverted the money. They've gone for a holiday. They've bought something else completely different from what the money was meant for. So those are some of the mistakes that I've observed as a banker. And so it's critical, like Mr. Ochichi said, take away the money as fast as possible. That is a great lesson for all of us. And it's what I use. Human beings are interesting. When you have money in your hands like this, that's when needs show up. You don't know what happens, but the moment you have money like this, something will show up. A relative is sick, or your dad has called, or your child is this. Things show up. Before you know it, money is gone. Take it away from yourself as fast as possible. Like in the bank, we have what we call the call deposits. Even without fixing it for long, you put it on an account. Why we call it a call deposit is that anytime you can call on it and say, I need this money. I have thought through, the emotions have come down. I can now make an informed decision, so I need my money back. And that call deposit account earns you interest as well. So take the money far away from yourself as fast as possible. That's what I can share. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chichi, those emotions, because it just almost like feels like the lottery. When you look at Americans and the lottery, whenever they win the lottery, you can hardly find them now. You don't know what happened to their money. The emotions. Even when I'm sure I'll share this with someone else there. I'm sure we'll share the same sentiments here. You know, when you're there, you don't have any money in your pocket. Then somehow some money lands in your pocket, 100K. Somehow you feel that, you feel you have so much money, you want to go and take people out, you want to buy them lunch. The emotions just literally kick in. And now this is money that, first of all, you didn't have up to now. I do have some questions here from people who are still doubting that money is going to be theirs. So, yes, someone who is still doubting, I'm imagining that someone who is still doubting right now, when that money actually does hit their account, those emotions are going to probably need a doctor to help them settle them. I mean, yes. And another thing you said that I took away, Ms. Ochichi, is giving it a different name, family resources, something bigger than yourself, not say my money, akasente kange kaze, It is always good to think about it that way. Then again, it helps you. We have questions here. Some of them I think, will be directed to the head teacher and some of his team members. But I want to throw in a question here, my own question. The future, I think this is for my sake as well. The future is farming. The future is agriculture. People are looking for where to invest. I tried my hands on a business, but I guess I went about it the wrong way. And I'm thinking, if I withdraw my benefits, would you advise me to go into farming? And if yes, I guess even Peace will give me a take on that. And if yes, how best would you advise that I proceed with that after having emotionally come down? Yes. How best would you advise me? Start with Mr. Ochichi.
All right. First of all, Uganda is one country with an interesting agro-based potential businesses, largely because this is a country where farming is premised on natural rainfall. Because of that, everybody is going to grow at the same time, harvest at the same time, go to the market at the same time. When that happens, the common thing that happens is that there's a price slump. You who now have some bit of cash, I would encourage you to go on the other part of marketing, storage and marketing. In other words, when the price is going down and the maize is going at 500 shillings a kilo, stock it. But when you stock it, the risks that are associated with that is spoilage because of poor drying, spillage because farmers are stealing. But if you can fix this, because people can fix this, you give yourself only 4 months. Caritas, what you bought at 500 shillings a kilo, you will be selling at 1,000 shillings a kilo. That's 100% margin. Where do you get that anywhere in the world? Which commodity? None. And that repeats itself year in, year out. There is no saying, oh no, you see now, that was only last year. It repeats itself all the time. So farming in our environment is still something you can go in and improve the flow of the produce. Because that price slump is because everybody is pushing the produce to the market. The buyers are fewer, and the people who can do the storage and keep for longer supply are not many. But in short, that is now part of the farm. That's crop farming. It could be livestock. What normally I tell people is, whatever you want to do, somebody has done it. Go and understudy that person and learn the key success factors. You go into chicken and you forget vaccination, they can hit 10,000 and they will all die. You go into chicken and you forget issues to do with the cleaning up the place, that alone can cause you major losses. But somebody went through that and they have got the solutions.
Yeah, find like you said, first of all, don't tell every Tom, Dick, and Harry and all that, but it shouldn't stop you from seeking advice from those that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And
a good marriage of that advice.
you know, I'm learning. I'm picking up here.
Very
Peace,
good.
what would be your advice? I know there are very many women. Women have gone into agriculture. Some of them have ventured into what you're saying, which is talking marketing and selling it. I see them a lot. We see them in the marketplace. We see them in the fields toiling the land. Now, we are looking at corporates. We're looking at people who've been saving with NSSF. And they're thinking, I have my land there. Or when if I get this money, I first of all go and start up a chicken house or strawberry or vegetable garden. This woman is really thinking in that direction. From a woman to a woman, what would be your advice to her?
First of all, I would like to say, before I even think about agriculture, when this money comes or before I access it, there are certain things that you need to look at. You look at, of course, where do you want this money to go? What is the return? And what is the level of risk that you can take? There is what we call risk tolerance. What is your risk tolerance level? What is the risk that you can take? And of course, there are some who are moderate in terms of risk taking. There are those who are risk averse. You know, you mention agriculture, they say, no, I cannot put my money in agriculture. And then there are those who are aggressive. Like Mr. Chichi said, you can make 100% of profits in that agriculture, business. So there are those who are aggressive, and you show them an opportunity, they will go for it. So it's important that before you can even think about agriculture, please study, look at the return, look at the risk. What is the level of risk that you can take? And would you want to try out agriculture with all your savings, or you want to test the waters with only one? You don't want to put both legs in the water.
Yeah.
And of course, it's very, very important that you understand where you want to play in that agricultural value chain. Do you want to do the farming yourself? Do you want to be the middleman? Do you want to add value to the the produce? Where exactly do you see opportunity? Where exactly do you see the need? So for me, I wouldn't say there is opportunity. I wouldn't say please go for it. It's about careful analysis of this entire value chain. Understand your risk tolerance, understand your risk appetite, sit down and analyze. I'm an accountant by profession. And they tell us that accountants really, you do a lot of analysis. Let me tell you, Caritas, it's very good to analyze. This is your money.
Yeah.
You have earned it. You've saved it for 10 years, for 20 years.
Yeah.
Let no one just come and say, spend it anyhowly. It's good to analyze. I know, of course, there are people who get into analysis and they get paralyzed. Analysis paralysis. I'm not advising you to do that. Yes, sit down, calculate the risks, look at the opportunities, look at the area that can give you the benefits, and also see, are you available? There are those who are going to go into agriculture and they are still in employment. And I have a relative who is into agriculture, and he told me, Peace, telephone farming does not work. So you want to make a phone call and say, have you vaccinated the cows? Have you fed them? Have you done this and this? When you go on the ground, things are different. So before you think about any investment, look at, are you going to be active there? If you're going to be active, then how about your employment? If you're still employed, are you going to be available? If you're not, what controls can you put in place to be able to supervise and all that?
Wow. Wow. And if you're just joining us, I'd like to let you know that this is the first webinar of many that are yet to come where we want to discuss your money. Akasente ko. You've been saving it. NSSF has been holding it or onto it for you. And it's time for you to receive it in a few months. You're going to start receiving that money. Are you ready for it? Both emotionally, that emotional part there, it's I've seen people get excited with money that, and this, first of all, being money that you didn't think you'd get, now that it's going to come true, it's coming true. You're getting those emotions that Miss Ochichi is trying to ask you to put in check. And we're also learning so many big words, very big and important words. Now, I first wanted to throw in a compliment. One of the viewers here who said, I loved the tips on managing emotions, e.g., put it on a fixed deposit account so that you can cool off. Cool off. We're not saying go and cool off in Mombasa, go and cool off at Sunset Beach. That one, you might cool off and come back empty. It might be a bigger problem for you. So, I'd like to throw in a few questions because we have a couple of questions coming in and I don't want to miss them. But before I go into the questions, I see Apollo. Sorry, head teacher sir. Head teacher sir is going to tell us one or two things before I come back and continue. Do tell a friend to tune in to learn a thing or two about money.
Thank you so much, Caritas. It is Headmaster Sir. Repeat after me.
Headmaster sir.
Good student, good student. Thank you so much. And right now, also the headmasters are also science teachers. So please, when that pay rise comes in, we are there. Thank you so much. There is quite a lot of questions coming in through, and everyone is asking all this left, right, and center. And indeed, that's what the conversation should be about. We are looking at a place where, at one time, we can get to that level where, on Monday morning, people come into office and their discussions about their projects back at home, not about the Premier League that happened and they were not even able to fly there. But nevertheless, we are grateful that this conversation is going on. Let the conversation keep flowing. For those NSSF specific questions, we'll definitely also get you those specific answers. Some are being answered online. They're being answered to you. Someone who submitted their midterm and they has not gotten yes, they are being answered. Yeah, kindly just bring them in. Caritas, I just want to share with you a little, and if the back office is kind enough, we just now want to check the room of the temperature of the room by understanding how are people prepared. If the back office is kind enough to relay that poll question, we just want to understand, are people prepared? Yes or no? Maybe, or maybe they will prepare when they get their midterm access. And at a certain, as Caritas kept hinting on this, we are going to be carrying out this for quite some time, and we'll be reaching out there. Do you have a plan you want to share with us? You haven't executed it, but that's the plan you have. Why don't you share it with us so that we can also share it with other people? What's your plan? Remember, the issues of personal finance are personal. They are personal. Not one thing fits for all. I can tell you the same thing. I can do the same thing. I already share this story. I've shared it on this platform before, that me and my cousin planted maize side by side. He got so many bags. I had to inject some money for some people to come and cut down the suckers that were there. So same time, same land, next to each other. We are the same age, in the same we are brought up in the same household, but it didn't work out for me. I was a telephone farmer. He's an on-ground farmer. So ladies and gentlemen, not every plan works for everyone. You need to find your thing. If the back office team can give me that poll question, please, would be nice. Someone is asking, for us who are abroad, give us tips on how to save. Yes, you can save with NSSF even if you're abroad, using your MasterCard, you can use mobile money, or your bank, you can directly contribute to the bank. But also, I will ask through Caritas, we'll get a few tips on what ventures the abroad people, that's the Basamas, can actually invest in back here in Uganda. So the poll question is, have you made a plan for your retirement benefits, the benefits you are getting? And Peace has widened this to include the provident. They need to include also those other bullet payments that come in on bonus. Stanbic, I know you are coming in March. I know. So some banks I also know you are coming in December. Those bullet payments, yes. Most of the parastatals they are paying a 13th check. Have you made a plan? And the answer is yes, no. Maybe there's, when you have made a plan and you're not sure that it is a plan, maybe you have made a plan. I am thinking about it. I need help. I will plan when I receive. What is your take? Ladies and gentlemen, help us in the next 30 seconds, which is now 20 seconds and has gone down to 10 seconds. Please let us know, have you made plans for any bullet payments? We've expanded it to any bullet payments, huge payments coming in. Have you made a plan? Yes, no, maybe, I'm thinking about it, I need help, I will plan when it comes in. And you can close that and then share with us the results. What are the people saying? We apologize for those people who have sent in questions and maybe they are not answered, but we will endeavor to try to answer all that, and by the conversation continues even after we leave these 2 hours. 39% of the people say they have made plans for their bullet payments. 39%. 15% say no, I haven't made. 3% say maybe. 26% says they are thinking about it. It was a multiple answer, so I think that it won't add up to 100. 16% say they need help. If you need help, you can just reach out to any of the NSSF officers or through our helpline, and we will get you the help you need. As NSSF, we do not have the advisors, we do not have the resources, but we know where those resources are. We will take you to the Enterprise Uganda, Housing Finance, all those people that where we know the experts are, will get you there. If it is about farming, we'll get you to the farmers. I will plan when I receive it. Only 1% have said that. So, Caritas, that's the room, the temperature in the room. Thank you.
Wow. We're going to put on those gloves, those gum. We're definitely out to work. We have so many webinars to go through, and that's why these webinars are very important, because we have realized that many people do not know what to do after the money has hit their accounts. But also, after Mr. Ochichi mentioned, I call them the forgotten ones, the retired parents and relatives that are out there. In our language, we say grassing. They're grassing, and that's because they didn't plan or maybe made mistakes, and that's what we're trying to avoid here. We are saying let's not be a burden to our children. Let's be the grandparents that our children would want to have, so we don't, those burdens end up causing rifts in families because, everyone is depending on you and all that, and yet you can plan ahead and make sure you don't fall into that category. But then also, looking at head teacher Sir, what he mentioned when he was talking about expenditure priorities, and just looking at people building their homes, remodeling their homes, and starting businesses and investing, others even acquiring land. But there are also those who traveled abroad, those who bought property. Everyone choosing what they think is the right thing to do, but then also considering the fact that they did not get emotionally distressed, if I should say. They didn't take time to, first of all, get emotionally balanced for them to be able to make these investments. And we're trying to avoid all these mistakes. So let me go then to the questions that need those answers to help them not make those mistakes. Now, first I'll go to the question that the head teacher Sa had asked, which was the investors that are in their diaspora who are saying that some of us NSSF members who live and work abroad, please guide us on how to invest own money wisely before I go to another question. So I'll start with you, Peace.
Thank you very much. I think that's a fair question. First of all, I would like to say that as Housing Finance Bank, we are working with Ugandans in the diaspora to serve them in different ways, helping them to invest, helping them to transact, and do a couple of things. And one of the things that we do, first of all, is real estate. Housing Finance Bank is very good at structuring mortgage solutions, housing solutions, and there are a couple of diaspora customers that have worked with us to invest in real estate. We have a number of them that have apartments and are getting rent on a monthly basis, and we have assisted them to do that. And we've partnered with a different, people, organizations to support them. For example, those that are not able to, supervise, we work with some of our people, our partnerships, to help out with that. We have those that can manage the properties. We have the property managers. So you just sit back, relax, and wait for your money on a monthly basis. The other that is available that I want to speak to are other investment options like treasury bills and bonds. And these are government papers. So you lend money to the government. And you do it through commercial banks. Housing Finance is one of the primary dealers. We have about 7 primary dealers. Those are commercial banks. And these primary dealers go and participate in buying these papers from the government. And so we can sell to you so that you invest. Now, Housing Finance Bank recently launched a securities portal. And so when you're in the diaspora, you don't need to first come here to sign the paperwork, open the CSD account. CSD account is the Central Securities Depository account, which you open at the Central Bank or Bank of Uganda, and it's unique to you, so they know that this is your account. And so anytime you want to invest or terminate the investment, then you can easily be identifiable. So we have that portal. And when you go to the website, Housing Finance Bank website, the treasury function, you go there, very straightforward. You don't need to come home. You open the CSD account, and then you open, if you don't have an account with Housing Finance Bank, because you have to have an account with Housing Finance Bank to be able to invest through that portal, and you can open that account. It's also online, so you don't have to be here to invest. And I'm going to talk about treasury bills and bonds, really. A very good investment. You can even say, spread your portfolio and say that, maybe I should first talk about the treasury bills and bonds. The difference is that the treasury bills are short term. So you're looking at 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year maximum. And then the bonds are long term. So you're looking at 2 years, 3 years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Now, the difference is that for the bonds, the return is higher. The return is higher, but then also the catch is that we have different tax percentages. So for the treasury bills, the tax is about 20% on your earnings. Then the bonds, depending on the long-term nature of the bonds above 10 years, the withholding tax is about 10%. And then, so that also has to be considered. As you invest, you must think about the other expenses. How much tax am I going to incur? And then there is also what we call the premium. There are some of the bonds that come with a premium. And so you have to factor that into consideration. So you can plan your investments in such a way that every month you have an income. And how do you do that? So for example, for the bonds, they pay coupon or interest every 6 months. So for example, if you invest in a bond of, let's say, 17.5%, at the moment, you're sure that in November and May, you'll be earning an interest. So then you can say, we can craft an investment for you so that on a monthly basis, you have an income. You'll invest in a 17.5 bond, you'll invest in a 1-year treasury bill, you'll invest in a 3-year bond, you'll invest in a 10-year bond, 15-year bond, and then you find that every month you're earning an income. And all that, of course, we advise you on how to do it, and you just sit back, relax, wait for your money to land on your account, and then you can plan for it, go on holiday, and do whatever you want to do because you've earned it. And your principle, of course, is intact. You just keep waiting for that interest to land on the account. Those are the options I can speak to.
And that's the money you get to spend on those things of holiday, of take the girlfriend out, or whichever it is. That's the money you should be spending, not the investment. So, going to you, Mr. Ochichi, of course, Enterprise Uganda, you've been changing businesses to grow, to make sense, to multiply, to be the businesses that the investors want them to be. And it seems something, when you talk, I just see like it's something, the same way that I love doing what I do. I just see it oozing out of you. I'm like, this man just, I think when he goes to sleep, he sees numbers. He's thinking, how do I multiply the other ones? And I envy you. But then I'm drinking from that cup. So, to the investors, to those, the savers, our people, our customers that are in the diaspora, what investments would you advise them? They're saving with NSSF, and now they say they want to invest. But they're in the diaspora. What would be your advice to them as Enterprise Uganda?
First, the routes that Peace has mentioned of passive investments, where you go to the stock market and then get the investment channel through government or even the shares of listed companies. There is still a role the saver has to play, and Peace hinted to it. The moment the 6 monthly income falls in your account, you're on your own. If you do not channel it properly, you are going to keep your investment portfolio at the same size permanently. Because each time it generated income, they drop it in the account where it's available for you to take it. So you will find that, and Ugandans have even invested in Safaricom, at least I have also done. You discover the man has just arrived, some 6 million has been dropped in your account. You call the bank, they say, no, I think it came from Safaricom. Immediately you formulate ways on how to get it out of the way. What should you be doing? The 6 million has come as dividend. Make sure, if you want your portfolio to grow, put back at least 50% of that income to where it came from. Go and buy more shares. Go and invest somewhere. Then now eat the 50%. You will enjoy that 50% with all the joy because your portfolio is improving. Wealth does not want where it is stagnant. And I warn Ugandans, I warn people, if the money has landed in your account, don't blame housing finance. That way, my portfolio is not growing. You are eating it. You are eating it. So the word passive must not be seen as surrendering and saying, aha, these people are sorting out my case. The treasury bill has matured. The money has landed in your account. What have you done? If you want to become rich, wealth loves where it continuously grows. If it doesn't, you have got apartments in Kololo and you're enjoying all the income, one time those apartments will need to be renovated. You are going to take the land title to the bank. The bank will give you money to renovate the apartments. But it's a renovation of apartments for a person who has enjoyed only eating rental income. You will not pay that loan. The apartments will change hands. And they will be so glad that this fellow who never improved them has lost ownership. The apartments will be clapping to say, thank you so much for taking the land title to the bank so that we go to better hands where we can be better looked. But again, coming to what you said about other options, Uganda is that one country where opportunity to earn income and generate a lot of money from investment projects, enterprises, is so good. That's why people from other continents come here with hardly $1,000. Give them 2 years, the $1,000 is $100,000. And they even wonder why we even complain. They come with hardly anything. So a person who is in the diaspora, the main thing you need to do is just to check and say, the enterprise I'm putting my money into, do I know how it works? Don't put money and just assume that it will succeed. I leave it to God. Let me pray about it. Do you know how it works? We normally tell people that for you to know how an enterprise works, check the key success factors. If it is produce, did you buy at the time of the harvest? If you miss the harvest period, the price has already gone up. Number two, did you manage to dry that crop? If you didn't, the crop is going to rot in the store. How about the control of pests? How about the control of pilferage? All these avenues here will wipe out the so-called 100% profit margin. So the opportunity for somebody in the diaspora in this country, it is massive. But never get excited by just imagining that the only thing you need to do is to remit money. Do you know that the relatives that work with, and that's the other thing you normally do, that I need to do it through my brother, through my uncle. Please, when people are buying solutions in the marketplace, they don't ask you, Caritas, who is living in Dubai, that, by the way, did you employ your brother to make this dairy farm that's now bringing milk so that we buy from you? We are coming to buy milk. Whom you have employed, we are not interested to know. So please, diaspora person, concentrate on getting competent people who give you returns. And those returns, you can share a portion of that with your relatives if they don't qualify to be managers of the enterprise. There is this common notion of thinking that I'm here to keep my people jobs. Don't go there. Be there to create solutions that make the society reward you with money. And then your relatives, if they are coming on board, they must come to add value. If they don't, keep them away, love them, get part of the profit, share with them, but they should not come to get the enterprise to collapse.
I like that. Family. That's a very touchy affair.
It is.
We love to hate them, but we can't. They are our people, And talking about family, my dear sisters in Christ and brothers, when you get that money, please don't say you're going to take 50% of it to church and buy church land and buy church cars. Let's first of all emotionally detox. Let's first stabilize those emotions and make sure that you're making the right decision. That is, even God wants you to prosper. It's not, He wants you to prosper. He doesn't want you to take wrong decisions. Don't make those wrong decisions. Let's try and think as rationally as possible. And let this statement keep ringing in your head, because it's one I've taken it and I want to keep using it. That money doesn't mean you're wealthy. It's only an invitation to sit at the table of the wealthy. So it means it's that money to make you wealthy, so you get to sit at that table. Talking of which, there is an investment that I've heard a lot about, but I have never really taken keen interest in: cryptocurrency. Yeah, Mr. Chichi says, "Oh, that's a whole different ballgame." And I have a question in that regard. Would you advise me to invest? Someone here says they want to know, would you advise them to invest in Christ? Mr. Chichi has handed it very peacefully to peace to handle. Yes, cryptocurrency seems like a very touchy one.
Indeed, it's a touchy one. And I think I mentioned it earlier. When you're making an investment decision, there are two things that you look at. First is the return. The other is risk. And I have a formula that I use when I'm planning for investments. If there is an investment that I can't quite figure out how it's going to work, I stay away from it. I stay away from it. I do not want to gamble. Because the investments I talked about, you can sit and say, I can invest in an organization through equity, and from the past performance, this company is on a very good trajectory. And so I see it grow from one level to another, and so I can invest there. You can look at certain things, like Mr. Chichi said, the critical success factors, the people managing it, the governance structure. And so I can invest in this company. And then real estate. You can say, you do research and say, okay, apartments, how are they doing in Kampala? What's happening around? So you have some level of confidence before you get in there. Talk about the treasury bills and bonds. I talked about it. There is certainty unless a government fails to pay, but that is a rare occurrence. I think it has happened in Greece. I don't remember, there is another country, I think, but that is a very rare occurrence. So there is no gambling. Agriculture, he mentioned, you can sit and work out and say, if I do A, B, C, D, I know that at the end of 2 years or 3 years, this will be my return. Now, the challenge I have with cryptocurrency, I don't know the basis of those investments. So it is more or less like gambling. The thing will go up, down, up, down. You don't know the underlying factors that you can work out and determine either your profit or your loss. Today it's high, the following day it goes down, and you don't know what factors are touching it. And so for me, where I cannot touch those things, I will not put my money.
Are you getting go muchalo? I'm telling you. Yeah. Mr. Chichi, you want to add on?
I can only say this, that in a country with so many opportunities, be worried about something very exciting. And it's not something you can exactly put a finger on how to, what drives its progress when it's going down. We have so many opportunities in this country that please go with those ones first. And those opportunities will take all the money you have plus more. Yeah.
Okay, remember, I've got to remind you, this is the first webinar of many that we're going to keep bringing to you, just to prepare you for your benefits, the benefits that you've been asking about. My kamane, our kamane, kasente kange. You've given it all sorts of names. Akasente kaja. Naye wetegeso tia. How ready are you to invest that money? Before I go to the other questions, this one I also wanted to hear, because, you know, Mr. Headmaster Sir made me feel like Banang after I messed up with my business. The viewers want to know, what business mistakes, mind they know, what business mistakes did you make, have you ever made, Mr. Ochichi, and also Peace? Please don't disappoint me and say you have never made, because I want to be in the same boat.
There are quite many. In fact, I keep saying that if I knew the information I know now, I would have not made those mistakes. First of all, I would like to share my story when I had just joined the banking sector. Like I mentioned, banks pay some bonuses. So after 2 years, I got a bonus. It was, I remember, 7 million shillings. And that time I was earning 500,000 Uganda shillings per month. So 7 million, one go. It was quite a sum. I got excited, and I remembered a scenario where I traveled up country by bus. It was Christmas, and literally we went through the windows of the bus to get a seat. You know, when it's Christmas season, everybody wants to travel up country, and so there is a queue. So people were literally going through windows to get seats in the bus. Now, a lady like me, I said I cannot do that. I waited almost the whole day, and I got a bus towards evening. So I said, when I get this money, I'm going to buy a car. And I bought a car. But I can assure you that was one of the worst mistakes I made. Because a car is, at that time, it wasn't a need. It was a want. I could have lived without it, you know. People who used their bonuses to buy plots of land, after like 3-4 years, they were smiling. And I was here with a car, fuel, maintenance, it's breaking down, with 500,000 Uganda shillings. The other mistake that I made, and this is not so long ago, a friend came and said, you know, don't rely on salary. We can do something away from employment. And for them, they had all the time. They're into self-employment. And so we sat down and said, what do we need to do? So we decided to do mobile money as an agent, and then we're planning maybe as the agent banking comes into play, then we can also expand into that business. And I did not do research. I did not find out how much commissions do these agents earn on a daily basis. For you to be able to make some money, what are the volumes do you need to have, to be able to make the money? So I went in blindly. I invested about 20 million shillings. We set up an office in Wandegea, a very good office. We put tellers. We have got someone, started paying salary. We got executive offices, chairs, and we set up. Within 3 months, we couldn't even pay rent. We could not even pay the workers. What did we do? We said, let's close. Remember, I invested 20 million. But we couldn't even sell the chairs to get the 20 million that I had put in. So the mistake I made was, first of all, I did not do research to be able to understand the nature of this business, the volumes that are needed to make the money. So those are the mistakes I've made. And I have learned. I continue to learn. Every time I have an opportunity with a lot of money, I sit and work it out and say, where do I put my money? I recently had some lump sum. I sold a piece of land. And I approached someone in the bank. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that all of us are students. Don't look at yourself and you think you know. Yes, I'm an executive director of a bank, but I don't know it all. I go to the experts, our treasury team, people who are dealing in real estate. So I called 2 people. I said, I want to know real estate vis-a-vis treasury bonds. And they worked it out. I had questions. I challenged them. At the end of it all, I said a bond is better. Because I was not willing to take the risks in real estate. Because this gentleman was telling me, you can buy land today in a certain place. I think it's after Bukerere, if you know where Bukerere is. You buy it at 150 million now, but in about 10 years' time, you can get about 1 billion shillings. I said, how? So he tried to break it down. You will subdivide into plots of 50 by 100, and worked it out and worked it out. It looked juicy. But guess what? How sure am I that in 10 years, that plot of land will be that worth? I am not so sure. And I asked a few things. I said, let me not go with real estate. I'll go with a bond. Just because I asked the right questions, I did some analysis, and I was able to make the decision.
Research, people, research. Find out more about the business you intend to invest in. Don't be scared to ask the questions. And like Peace said, education never ends. We're always learning through life. So don't be shy to learn. But again, don't go and ask questions to those who have failed. Those ones who have been hit hard. Those ones who don't even have a shilling on them, Don't. Go to those people who have evidence about what they're talking about, like Mr. Ochichi here, who's going to tell us. Do tell us what your advice would be there.
Mine is, I must say that as a family, we've been keen at investment, saving and investment. But I think the mistake that we made as a family was to concentrate on almost one direction. Investment through the bank deposit accounts, and then through the treasury bills, and then shares. I say this because there are 2 things that we should have done. We had the resources, but then we concentrated only in that route. And that's how diversification comes in. If you do it with care, it helps. This is what happened when we went and got a house at Kiswa in Bugolobi. That place was surrounded by low-class tenants. All the units there were mabati roofed, but the walls were made out of mud and wattle. So we got our house there. and our house was the best in the area. At the time we were getting that house, the plots in that area were going at 6 million. I get to go and work at PTA Bank, and then I keep on sending money, and to my salary was going to my wife's account in Kampala. Then she'd put back $200 to get back to me in Nairobi. So the resources were there for us to keep on investing, but we concentrated only in the safe ones. And I say that because today in the same area in Kiswa, a plot that was going at 6 million is now 300 million. It is 300 million in a space of about 20 years. You might say 20 years is quite a long time, then maybe that's correct. Here is a good picture. In the UK, there's what they call the Financial Times Index. When I was doing my master's in the UK in 1994, the Financial Times Index was, was 2,500. Today, it is 7,500. That's the maximum it has gone. In other words, in about 20 years or more, it has only grown by 3 times. This plot of land in Kiswa in the same period has grown by 50 times. I should have been more risk appetite should have been there to just say the resources were there. We should have just diversified. That's one example. We bought land again in Soroti near the flying school. In 2005, again that's 17 years ago, an acre of land was going at 580,000. We bought 12 acres. Today, the land in that place is going at 80 million per acre. 80 million shillings. We had the resources. We could have added more. But at that time, it looked like, well, the Tamaka Road is very far from here. And then the surrounding is still surrounded by villagers who are burying their kin around that area. So it's more of a burial ground and a traditional area. Little did we know that in Africa, as infrastructure develops, we open up the economy to amazing investments. And overnight, these properties begin to appreciate. So my sharing here, or my lesson here is, try to diversify. It's okay to be very safe. But also as you take that route, ask yourself, how did Bidan Disali get Chiwatule? And he got about 300 acres. Today, just a small 50 by 100, it's 100 million. Bidan Disali was getting them at those giveaway rates at that time. So my advice to people with the resources is, look at Africa differently. It's a country opening up to investments. And as we get to see more electricity, more infrastructure in terms of roads, security going on, the country is going to lift the value of everything that we have here. So please learn to put resources in other investment vehicles and be patient for those benefits to come to you.
That's a very, very good lesson there. Patience sometimes is all we need in some of these investments, but also just being able to diversify. I mean, like you put it in a way that if you had also bought that land and also grown, then you'd be contributing to industrialization of that area, and not looking at it as a remote area, which I also did when we were in Chira. A friend was buying land in Chira at 7 million. That's over 10 years ago. And I was saying, but in this bush, it's way over 10 years. I was saying, in this bush, but you girl, how can you? But now, when she tells me how much it's going for, I just keep knocking
And
myself.
she must be regretting why she didn't.
She
pick
bought,
more.
it's me, yes. She should have bought the next piece and the
Yes.
next one. But I think I'm regretting more that I didn't take that investment opportunity. But now let's be as real as possible. Benefits are going to come. And these benefits are going to go to people who are family, they're family men or women, they're married, they're intending to get married, they've got kids. So there's 2 things that I want to be very realistic about. the families that we love, the families that we want to take care of, the families that we put first, the families who depend on us, the money is going to come onto those accounts. Let's first talk to the people who are coupled. I love the way you have been talking about it, Mr. Ochichi, involving your wife and how money would go through to your wife. I know the people who are watching and say, my wife, I don't know.
Full salary
you
going to
know,
her account, and I'm in
imagine.
Nairobi.
Imagine that is trust, and that's being
Yeah.
one in a unit. And that is also a lesson that I think we also need to share, because as a unit, if you're together as husband and wife, I believe that money would be more beneficial if you think as that unit, not as an individual. My come money, you know. What advice would you both give to those couples that are together? How best to go forward with that? How can they make sure that money benefits them and not break them or bring more problems into their lives? Then also there was a question of a woman who was talking about, I think it's a woman from the tone, about school fees, which is obviously the hugest thing for many parents. And she's asking for advice, how her, among many people out there, can help themselves in that situation to make sure that the term doesn't start and there's no school fees.
Yeah.
Those are the two questions that I would want to be very realistic about.
All right, let me talk about family and how it relates to investment. One, whatever you are doing currently as parents, you are going to transfer that skill or behavior to your children without you even announcing to them. So if you are going to be showing your children that life is about consuming the best you can do today, they live that kind of a perception. And they have friends whom they talk with, and they reinforce that kind of picture as they talk with those friends. That for us, this is what we are. You are giving your children the impression that all is done because daddy has sorted it out. So why am I emphasizing opening up to the family? These kids can begin to appreciate elements of investment as early as possible. When my children were going to Kaboja Junior School, we would go for what we call annual Christmas party for the children. We go to Para, then later we would go to Nairobi, then later as we things kept on improving, we go to Cape Town. But each time we have that annual retreat, there's a moment to reflect how the year has gone in terms of classroom work, in terms of family investments, in terms of the lessons of life that were picked. And one of those was, how do we save resources? So when it was primary, it was about who lost many rubbers during the year, who lost many mathematical sets, who lost the jumper, who lost the shoe, who lost the whatever. And then you'd find people now competing to say, for me this year, daddy, I lost only one pencil. So the conversation has begun on saving already, on stopping the resources. As they grew and began to know that there are bills called water bills, there are bills called electricity bills, we will now be saying, who was reminded many times to switch off the light in the bedroom when we were getting out of the room? Who was reminded many times to stop leaving the tap flowing? So as we go for our retreats, those conversations were beautiful conversations. And as they kept on growing and we now went into construction, the boy would be now supervising the delivery of bricks. And by the time we are going for a dinner conversation, we'll be saying, Daddy, can you imagine this man was saying the lorry was containing 1,500 bricks? When we told him that, please, we are willing to pay to count those bricks and spend 10,000, he was saying that we are wasting money. He wanted to just pour the bricks. When he insisted on paying workers and is working with them to count the bricks, he discovers the bricks are not 1,500. They are 1,200. 300 bricks are missing. You multiply that by the cost of a brick, the 10,000 you have used to count is far smaller. And the joy of the boy discovering such a potential loss, you can't believe it. So I bring that because the conversation about investments with the family can start as early as possible and must continue throughout. Today, these children are working in Canada and they are remitting money. First of all, they are remitting money to assist us in completing the hotel, but they are also remitting money to say, Daddy, you remember what you told us about the land in Kiswa? We want you to, our money now is reaching about 80 million. Get us some plots of land. We also want to check what will happen to them when they are now, say, 35 years old, and things have been on the market for the last 15 years. These things are happening. But another thing why this is important is that it's assisting accountability. Before you can misuse a family resource, you know the children know about it. And they will be asking, but Daddy, what has happened to this? So opening up to children to be part of this story and conversation, you are creating auditors. People who are doing family audit of what we are doing at home. And that is key. But also you are curing the other disease we normally have, where you safeguard kids and keep them like some broilers, some safe kids somewhere. And then you hand over to the world for a bruising experience. It's very artificial. So the earlier we get our children to get into this, the better for them, because they now speak with authority on how the hotel is being built. They speak with authority on how their house in Kiswa has become a big office with huge income. And they can speak with that confidence to any of their friends without any intimidation. It's just a good thing to get this to happen.
I like that very much. Not letting our children think that things are easy or have it the easier way, or, and involving them at an early age. I am definitely going to sit down with the boys. The boys asked me what we're going to talk about today. Now I have homework. I'm a student going back with some homework for my whole clan. So Peace, over to you.
Thank you very much. When Mr. Chichi was talking, I remembered that there's a biological clock that ticks every day. And when we are born, we think that, we are still young, things will happen. But then the biological clock keeps ticking. Before you know it, you're 40. Before you know it, you're 60, you're 80. So what do you do as the biological clock ticks? And then I remembered the cycle, the personal cycle that we go through, where you have a phase of accumulating wealth, you have a phase of consolidating, and then you have that phase of consuming. The consumption phase above 60 years is very dangerous. And if you're not ready for it, it will be dangerous. But if you're ready for it, you will enjoy it. Now, about family, in addition to what Mr. Chichi has said, I am a mother of 3 girls. And I'm really trying to teach them to plan ahead, think ahead. And one thing that I have tried to do is to expose them to money. There are many of us who leave homes. Our children see us in suits, dressed up. We go to work. They don't know what we do. They don't know where the money comes from. They just see, okay, bills paid, food is in the house, things are happening. They don't know how we hustle. So one thing I have done is to tell my children that this is what I do. This is the hustle that I go through. This is how I earn the money. And every time they are going to school, we tell them that this is our hard-earned money. We don't steal money. It is hard-earned. We leave here every morning, early in the morning, come late in the night sometimes. We go out and work. That is one thing that we have done. For them to know that this is what I do in order for me to earn and get the money to take care of them. Number 2, expose them. When we give them pocket money, I tell them, if you come back home empty-handed, it's a problem. Do whatever you can to save some money. And when you save it, you'll tell me what you're going to use it for. Number 3, I test them. I give them money to manage. I say, okay, you're the one in charge of this week. So I give you 100,000. I see what are you going to plan for this money. How are you going to spend it? And you must give me accountability. If you have bought sugar, I need to see a receipt. So that way, they will know that there is accountability. You don't just spend money for the sake of spending it. You must plan, you must account for it. So very true, let's involve our children at an early stage. Because when they grow up, they'll be us, they'll retire, they'll need to plan very well.
Lessons learned. We continue to learn more lessons. Remember, this is the first webinar of very many others yet to come in the future. And what we're doing is preparing you for those benefits that you've all been waiting for. The line that I leave you with before we go to the headmaster, sir, is if you are just a customer and not creating customers, you're in trouble. Think hard about that and a lot about what we've learned here today. Mr. Headmaster, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Caritas. Thank you very, very much. Very well articulated. Indeed, you've been in school. Yeah, you are picking up this. But I need to remind you that whatever you pick from this, I need to take part of that the profit, because we are in this school together. We are entering it as failed businessmen, but we are coming out, and women, but we are coming out victorious. So when that time comes and you have written your book, please remember to put Sir Headmaster Sir somewhere. So someone here is saying na APC. A car seems to be a necessity to do certain things swiftly. What would you advise me in my early 40s? I've worked tirelessly. I have never owned one. I've been postponing it for years. Someone is saying that, and to me, I would say seasons. They just have to understand their season. But please say something about it before we wind up.
No, indeed, you've mentioned seasons and circumstances. So that time, in my view, I didn't need a car. As a single girl, I could jump on a border, jump on a taxi, and I go to work and go back home. So it really depends on your circumstances. If you have a family and you have to ferry children to school and back home, maybe you need it. But then the question is, where else can you put that money that the money can grow, and maybe eventually you use those profits to buy the car? So you need to work out the options and say, where is the opportunity? Where can I forego this? Or where can I put this money? So again, do not rush the emotions that we talked about. Say, I have worked hard. So what shows that you have worked hard? I need a car. So please settle down and look at your circumstances before you make that decision.
Thank you so much. I pick one thing. So, yes, you are saying those things. So, and there is, just comes down to taking responsibility. Yesterday, I learned something from one of my trainers. She said, you either accept the conditions or you accept to take responsibility. Because in here, there is someone who's talking about, we pay taxes, we pay on cement, we pay on building, we pay rental income. Yes, either accept the conditions or take responsibility. Because some things we can discuss, but we will not do anything about them. But we can be responsible for the things we can change. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a nice 2 hours. 2 hours can fly. I know at the beginning they're saying, no, this is too long, but 2 hours, they have actually passed. Now I'm in overtime, but I'm allowed because I'm the headmaster, sir. I'm allowed to take a few minutes. But before you go out, we need to, there is always homework. There is always something, parting shots, and one or two books that you would recommend, or podcast. I've been told to update some of these things. Podcasts now count. Billboards also count as reading material. But one or two things you can share with our listeners, our members, before you go away. Then we can wind it out. I'll start with Mr. Ochichi.
I want to say that financial responsibility has got nothing with the current salary you are getting. Nor does it have to be related to the volume of money you are going to get from NSSF. It all depends on how you channel the resources you are currently using. If you are currently deteriorating your portfolio on a yearly basis as opposed to improving it, forget about becoming financially independent.
Thank you so much. Any book you recommend for someone to read?
It's a book that people have read so many times, but they have failed to, many of them have failed to take action. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Just a very practical book.
Thank you. Peace, over to you. And one Kalango for housing finance.
Yeah, please come and we advise you. Very many things that we can do with you. Fixed deposits, treasury bills, real estate. So please come, reach out, and we shall support you. But aside that, there is something that a clip that I listened to this morning. and they were talking about the different animals and the defense systems. An elephant, it's about the size. When an elephant steps in the room, you know it's an elephant. A lion roars and you all shake. A cheetah, very, very fast. And then a human being, what is our defense? As human beings, our defense is our brain. How are we using our brain to make the right decisions? Do not use your emotions. Do not be driven by fear. Do not be driven by public opinion, by peer pressure. Use your brain to make rational decisions. I'm currently reading a book. It's about the next 5 moves. And it talks about entrepreneurship. It talks about intrapreneurship for some of us who are in organizations. And then those who want to run businesses. It's by Patrick Bet David. The next 5 moves. Strategy around business. I recommend it for you. Read and you'll get some very good insights. Thank you.
Thank you, Peace. Thank you very much. And finally, you are the MVP for today because you are student number 1. The nation is looking out to you. Your success story is going to be the result. So you are our MVP this morning. Yes, and we are watching you. But ladies and gentlemen, you need to know that for a few of you who go to church, they say let the gospel be preached. But if it needs to be, if need be, use words. So meaning, sometimes all the time what your life represents is a testimony. So now in FL we believe that every move you are making, you are going to be making testimonies for us. So Caritas, your parting shots.
Mine are, first of all, know what you're good at. Don't be scared to delegate. You can't be good at everything. You may be good at numbers, but there's someone who is in the creative space. I'm in the creative space. All the ideas up here. Money, we're getting there. And I joined a group called Route. I'm actually the ambassador right now. And they have been skilling me on money matters, me and my boys. So we're trying to see how that will take us. And I also try to talk to people. The Mr. of Chichis of this life. I would want to meet Peace and sit down. Just, and I want to be holding my boys along with that. Let's go together. Let's learn about money. Let's learn how to make that money work for us so that we do what Mr. Chichi said there. Let the family be involved more than we were involved when we were growing up. So, yeah. I was given a book. Honestly, I've not opened even the first page. I took it because of the title. It just inspired me. And the title is You're Badass at Making Money. So I'm believing I'm a badass. In the future, I'll be a badass at making money. I have not opened even the first page. But I'm sure on the next webinar, I'll tell you more about that book.
Yes, and she will come back with that homework. We need to check it. If you don't have it, we are sending you back home and you're bringing your parents. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, the audience. It's been a pleasure hosting this. I want to leave you with this. Prepare your children. Do not prepare for them. Prepare your children. Everything, if you have a prepared child, and you have not prepared for them, you can use whatever you have prepared to eat it in retirement and prepare your child. Your child will learn and they will be more successful than you have been. Thank you so much. We return. This recording can be found on our social media pages, on the Housing Finance social media pages. It stays there and you can revisit it over and over again. We'll continue on this pursuit to make your benefits count. We are only successful if you are successful. Thank you so much, but remember, the responsibility of action is entirely on you. Thank you so much, and from NSSF, goodbye.